Hey y'all, what's going on? It's your boy Mike, dropping in with another video. And just want to chop it up with you guys for a little bit, talking about nutrition and how to get your nutrition absolutely perfect. And pretty much just the cheat code with that. There's no cheat code. Nutrition depends on your goals, pretty much. Now, there are things that are a little bit more healthy for you. Again, um, apples tend to be healthier than candy. You know, a steak tends to be healthier than fast food. However, I'm realistic and I know that depending on where you're at, you don't have access to all the proper foods. You don't have access to the perfect foods. And that is the reality. Like you see all the time on Instagram, people are like, oh yeah, like I had a steak and 3 eggs for breakfast and I have filet mignon and a Caesar salad for lunch and then I had this all this exotic. It's like, who is that for? Like, who can honestly eat like that, financially wise, constantly? Like, that is not realistic. So, be realistic about your goals. There's something called the 80-20 rule that you hear a lot of times, that eat 80% clean and then 20% whatever you want. Now, a lot of people will kind of like make variations of that. Some people have cheat days or cheat weekends. Some people just have something like kind of like something that's off diet, if you will, during the week. Make it look the way you want to. No one's like, nutrition it can be a tricky thing, but very simple at the same exact time. Depends on what your goals are. Now, if think a way that you can think of nutrition is think of like grades in school. The harder you study, if you're getting B's, A's, depends on what your goals are. If you want A's, you have to study a lot harder. It's take a lot more time, take a lot more energy, take a lot more effort to get that A. But and maintaining that A can be very, very difficult. Now, sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I'm an A student, but they get a B, they're breaking down and stuff. They're like, oh man, I failed, I did this, I did that. There's nothing wrong with a B. There's nothing wrong with a B at all. A's are amazing. If you can get straight A's, that's amazing. But there's nothing wrong with a B. Just like with your nutrition, you can say, no, I want to have my nutrition spot on, perfect, and this and this and this. However, when you start to neglect yourself and you start to have your cravings, start to neglect your cravings, then you can kind of go down a bad place. There are so many different ways that you can keep that in check. You can monitor that. Again, some people have a cheat weekend, a cheat day. Some people will say, hey, I'm gonna have something off brand or off diet, throughout the week. So I'm kind of, or having a specific day is like, hey, I'm gonna have a cheat weekend, but on Wednesdays, instead of having 2100 calories, just for say, I'm gonna have 2300 calories, and I may add, a half a Pop Tart or something like that. Just depends on what your goals are. Now, ways that you can kind of alter that is, not every calorie is created equally. You have more foods that are more more calorically dense. You have some that are more nutritionally dense, and oftentimes they're not the same thing. So a calorically dense food is, think of like your junk food, a bag of chips. There's not a lot of chips in like your traditional bag, but a traditional bag is like 300 calories just for number's sake. Whereas a full bag of spinach is pretty much the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's volume versus nutrition. It can be very complicated, but make it as simple as you want it to be. Does nutrition have to be perfect? No. Be realistic with what your goals are, with how you want things to be. If you have a weight loss goal, be realistic with your nutrition. It's like, okay, like I can have my ice cream, or I can have my salad. Just for explanations. Ice cream's good. Ice cream's awesome. I love ice cream. I eat ice cream. Ice cream's awesome. My nutrition is not perfect, and I know that. Can it be better? Oh yeah, it can definitely be better. But is it maintaining what I need it to maintain for right now? Yes. Could it, if I improve my nutrition, could I get to my gym goals, my fitness goals, my physique goals a little bit sooner? Yes, I can. So this is one thing I want to emphasize. Weight loss and fat loss are two different things. Weight loss is just a number. Fat loss is changing your body composition. So again, you can have, I'll put it this way. So I weigh about, last time I checked, I weighed about 193 pounds, something around there. It's like, okay, that's a pretty good size. There are people who are 193 pounds of solid muscle. A lot of bodybuilders, depending on what category they're in and stuff like that, they're way less than me. They can weigh like 170 pounds and 5% body fat, and they are shredded to the bone. But you also have the 193-pound guys that are a lot more fatty. So weight loss and fat loss are two different things. Weight is just a number. And oftentimes with weight loss, whenever people are going to caloric deficits, it's water, it's fat, and sometimes it's muscle, depending on how much of a caloric deficit you go into. Whereas when you're paying attention to fat loss, you're trying to minimize as much muscle loss as you can. Will there be muscle loss as you're decreasing your calories to a very low level? Yes, there will be muscle loss. However, if you're starting to make sure that your carbs are good, your fats are good, particularly your proteins, making sure that all those things are at an optimal level, then you can minimize the amount of muscle that you lose. And again, the more muscle that you have, muscle is metabolically active, which means it takes calories for muscle to actually work. So if you can minimize the amount of muscle that you lose and keep on a calorie deficit, you're actually going to start to reduce your fat a lot easier. So you actually get into a better body composition, and that's why oftentimes you'll see people who actually have smaller weight, who actually look bigger than someone's at a bigger weight, because you have a lot of cushion, a lot of fat that's kind of covering your muscles. However, whenever you start to reduce that fat, you start to show the creases in the muscle. It actually gives almost like an optical illusion that you're bigger, even at a smaller weight. It's really interesting how the body works. But again, just watch anybody who's like, watch your favorite superhero movie. You'll have, which are like Chris Hemsworth, just for a namesake. When he was playing Thor. Before he played Thor, like, he was a big guy. But then once he started to play Thor, he changed his body composition, everything like that. He looks a lot bigger, even though he actually weighs, numbers wise on the scale, a little bit less. Again, it's almost an optical illusion. It's really interesting how it works, but that's pretty much how it works. Because again, you actually look bigger the more defined that you are. That's why there are people who are smaller than me who look bigger than me, because they're more defined than I am. And that's okay. Like, no, do you? And again, I understand where I'm at. It's like my sleep isn't where it needs to be because of school. My nutrition isn't where it needs to be because of school is expensive. And I know I'm not eating the way I want to eat or the way I need to eat to get to my physique goals. But also I know that my sleep is not where it needs to be for my physique goals either. So I'm lifting more for fun and more to keep my sanity, to be honest, compared to having no specific physique goals. Do I want to focus on physique goals? Do I want to get my cardio in? Yeah, get my cardio in, because you have to work. You got to work your most important muscle, your heart. So you got to get your cardio in. Do I keep track of my lifts? Yeah, I keep track of my lifts. I do those things, but I don't focus on the nutrition or my sleep as much, because again, different priorities as of right now. Do I have more of a nutritionally balanced diet than a typical person? Yeah, I would say so. Is my protein where it needs to be? No. I know that for a fact. So I know where I'm at, and I know what I need to do to get there, to get to a certain level. To get past that level, then I'll even admit I'm going to have to hire a trainer, because there are certain levels I can get to, but how to modify my nutrition to the exact level that it needs to get to, then you have to kind of go to someone who has a little bit more expertise. Again, I have a lot of expertise, but I'm not the smartest person in the world. There are people who are way smarter than me, who have way more knowledge than me, who have way more experience than me, and I know that. With nutrition, with everything. So again, going back, is there a perfect diet? No. Everyone's nutritional needs are different. Do we have particular things that we need in our diets? Yes. We need carbs, we need fats, we need proteins, we need our vitamins, our macro and our microvitamins, we need our minerals, we need all those things. But not everyone can eat the same thing. For instance, I forgot which, there are certain medications, I don't remember which ones, that don't do very well with leafy greens. So if you're on this specific medication, and someone says, "Oh yeah, eat a spinach salad," you're gonna mess up your medication. Those contradict each other. You can't do that. There are certain disease processes that someone has a little bit more energy at different parts of the day. They can't eat certain things because of the disease processes and things of that nature. You have gout, which gets really affected, and people have flare-ups when they eat too much red meat. So I can't just tell somebody, oh yeah, eat a bunch of steak, eat a bunch of ground beef. If they got gout, they're gonna have flare-ups, and their joints are going to be hurting, and they'll be even in a worse spot than someone else. So you can't give everyone the same exact nutrition plan. That's why it's so important to understand if you have any particular disease processes, if you have any particular nutrition medications that you're on, to speak with your doctor to see what contraindications that you have. Are you allowed to people who are diabetic? They can't have certain they have too much sugar. Someone who's on dialysis, if I'm not mistaken, they can't have orange juice. So there's so many different things that are contraindicated to things that we know about nutrition. You know, so that's why I say that everyone's nutrition is different. You can't give a cookie cutter example for everybody. So speak with your doctor, see what kind of if there's any contraindications with nutrition and your medication for particular foods, for particular activities. Again, there's certain disease processes that you have. Again, you have more energy at certain times and things like that. So you kind of have to catch people where they're at. Now, do some people make excuses? Yeah, some people make excuses, but not everybody. This is the realistic aspect of fitness, of nutrition, that everyone's nutrition is going to look slightly different. Are there things that are going to be the same? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be the same. But are things going to be different? There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be different. So with nutrition, it can be very complicated, or it can be very, very easy. Have balance in your nutrition. Don't starve yourself. Don't neglect yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. There's a difference. Another thing you can do that I've seen a lot of people do is to make some kind of substitution or have something that's almost as good. For example, there is a while ago I was watching a video. I forgot the gentleman's name. I think his name was Raul or something like that, and it was actually on YouTube. I forgot his full name, but again, shout out to Raul. It was an interesting recipe, but he was talking about making crumble cookies. I was like, okay, cool. But the way that he did it, he used protein powder and and different kinds of flours and things like that, and he used sweeteners and things like that. So it was lower calories than a typical crumble cookie, the same size, but also had protein in it. So you're improving your nutritional value. Now, if you're a baker and you want to go that route, hey, by all means, do that thing. You have to find the things that are going to work for you and your particular goals. It's all about working. Sometimes you have to work smarter and harder, but the smarter you work, you don't have to work as hard as you're understanding different things. For people who are great cooks, no one started off as an amazing cook. People start off with cutting their hands. They're trying to cut vegetables. They're cutting their hands. People are like, oh, what kind of is this a dry cup or is this a wet cup? While I'm measuring, like, how do I keep my cooking area clean? How do I know how much I need to how much sugar I need to pour in this thing? Is it a tablespoon or is it a teaspoon? Is it a quart? Is it a pint? How do I convert quarts to pints to ounces to gallons to liters? How do I do all those things? No one just pops out and knows exactly all these things. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes understanding. It takes trial and error. And that's why you have people teaching you. And you can have teachers at different levels. For instance, there are things that I know about nutrition that I can't talk to about the general person. There are things I know about supplementation that I can't talk to the general person. So you have to find different teachers for where you're at. And sometimes you can have the same teacher for different levels, but sometimes you may have to say, okay, I've learned all I can learn from this teacher. I need to go on to a different teacher. And that's perfectly fine. You have to find out what works for you and what works for your nutrition, what works for your goals. So there's no everyone's nutrition is going to be different. There are certain things that work for everybody. Everyone needs water. Everyone needs protein. Everyone needs carbs. Everyone needs fats. Don't neglect yourself, because whenever you start to neglect yourself, then you start to get angry, and sometimes people kind of quote unquote go off their diet. That's why you have to find those substitutions. There's another gentleman, I forgot his whole name, but his name is Liam something, and his whole thing at the end of his video, he's like, okay, bye. It's like very, very, very cool dude. But But one of the things that he was saying, he's like, why does every recipe have cottage cheese in it? And it's like, because everyone's recipe has cottage cheese. But the reason why is because cottage cheese is a good source of protein. Do I like cottage cheese? It's not my thing. If you love cottage cheese, hey, more to you. But I'll have a protein shake instead of some cottage cheese. You know what I mean? I'll add some oats or something like that to my cottage cheese. So I'll find, just to my protein shake, I'll find a different alternative. But if you love cottage cheese, enjoy your cottage cheese. This is maybe a shocker for people, but I'm not a big avocado fan. Yeah, do what Island Bud, who doesn't like avocado. Go figure. But some people swear by avocado. They think it's the best thing in the world. If you love avocado, enjoy your avocado. Have fun. There's lots of good. It's nutritionally dense. It has a good fats for again. It has good fats. It has good carbs. It has good calories. Again, you need fats for your overall hormones. So if you're neglecting, you need certain kinds of fats for your hormones. So if you're just saying you're neglecting yourself, like, oh, this has fat, so I can't have it, then you're gonna screw up your hormones. If your calories are too low, you're gonna screw up your hormones. And you need your hormones to actually improve the body composition that you're looking for, or else everything's gonna get out of whack. That's why people on starvation diets, they don't do too well. People who are on too low calories, they don't do too well because the body is not meant to be on super low calories for a long time. You have to figure out what works for you, what works for your particular goals, and how to modify things to be where you need it to be. So understand any kind of disease processes that you have. Understand what kind of medications that you're on. Understand, like, if you're, certain disease processes do better with eating at a certain time, activity at a certain time. There's so much to the human body that, again, there's a lot. Understand yourself and keep track of these things. That's why I always say write these things down, especially if you're new to something. Write these things down. If you've been working out for a particular way, you've been eating for a particular way, and then you have a new disease process that pops up, write it down. Like, do some research on the disease process that you have. Talk to your doctor and be like, hey doc, you said I had this disease process. I enjoy working out. Is there anything I need to watch out for with working out with this disease process? Is there anything nutritional wise I need to understand with this disease process and with working out? Because let's say if you have congestive heart failure, CHF, you're not supposed to have too much water because your body's not flushing everything out. So having too much water, with CHF, is not a good day. So, for instance, I drunk about 110 ounces of water today. If I had CHF, I'll be in a world of trouble. If I drank that much water with CHF, that'll be a bad thing. So I would go to doc and be like, hey doc, you said I got CHF. I tend to drink this much water a day. What can I do to stay hydrated while working on this disease process? Let's say if you have, you eat your red meat, you enjoy your red meat, you're getting your gains, everything like that, but you start getting kidney stones, or you have to have a kidney you lose a kidney for something. What do you do? Or it's like you're not able to filter everything. What do you do? It's like, I have orange juice every day, but your kidneys are iffy. What do you do? Or you're doing good with your nutrition, but some certain things are a little bit more sugary, but your pancreas starts acting up and you're diabetic now. What do? You need to understand what to look for with diabetes, what to look for with insulin, when to take your insulin, when to take, like, how to have a snack. You need to know the signs of your blood sugar being too high or too low and what to do with those things. So you have to change things up. So let's say if you have diabetes, but you're a runner, you need carbs, you need sugar if you're a long distance runner, but you also have to monitor your diabetes. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do with your diabetes if you're doing an ultra marathon? Am I going to do an ultra marathon? I'm good on that. Your boy is good on ultra marathons. If you're an ultra marathoner, hats off to you. I salute you. That ain't my message. So hey, do you? But the point is, you have to understand your body. You have to understand any disease processes that you have. If the disease processes will affect your nutrition, in what way? So is it going to affect how you eat, the timing that you eat, what you drink, all those different things? If you don't have any disease processes and you're trying to maintain your nutrition as best as you can, have balance, treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Find things that are going to be good enough sometimes. Because sometimes 80% having 80%, 80/20 every day is better than having 100, 100% 6 days a week and then completely blowing things on the 7th day a week. A lot of people, they're just looking forward for that cheat day. You can completely blow your diet on a cheat day. Let's say if you're if you're on a calorie deficit, you're eating 1,700 calories, all week. But then Sunday comes, you're eating, 2 3 stack pancakes, and you're eating 4 egg omelet, and if you eat bacon, you're eating bacon. Let's say for lunch you're eating McDonald's, and for dinner you're eating pizza. That's 10,000 calories. No, I'm just roughly, but you blew your whole week. You know what I mean? But if you had something every day, let's say, and you find some kind of alternate that's going to be good enough. Let's say if you have a big sweet tooth. You're like, I have a big sweet tooth. I know I'm going to struggle with this. Look for recipes that have something sweet in it that's close enough. That's at 80% compared to that nothing. So have a protein shake. Make some protein ice cream. Have some Greek yogurt. Add some honey to your yogurt. Make a smoothie. If you're creative, make a cake. Make some pancakes. Make some cookies. Make some muffins. Add some protein powder in it. If you want to try the whole cottage cheese, add a cottage cheese in it if you want to. I don't care. But understand yourself. Understand any disease processes that you have. Understand the timing of your particular nutrition for your particular goals. Understand where you're at with your goals, and be realistic. Not everyone wants to step on stage, and if if you have very particular body goals that you're trying to reach, your nutrition is going to have to look a little bit different. You're going to have to alter your carbs and your fats and your proteins to meet the needs that you're going to meet. But if you're just an average person, just having a regular balanced diet, just having those small swaps, and having foods that are more voluminous compared to calorically dense, is going to be a game changer. Again, one of the cheat codes that I use is, someone's like, how do I add more volume to my diet? I'll say, find vegetables that are very large in size and add that to your food. So for instance, if you take a bunch of broccoli, steam it and then put it on your plate, it looks like your plate is completely full, but it's like 50 calories. It's a trick. It's a mind game. You have to kind of play games with yourself to get where you want to get sometimes, and it's really cool. So again, let's say I'm having some pasta. Okay, cool. I have like a serving or half a serving of pasta, but then I'll throw a bunch of veggies in there. I'll throw some broccoli. I'll throw some bell pepper. I'll throw some beans, depending on what kind of pasta I'm making. I may throw some black beans in there. I'll throw veggies and beans that add a lot of volume, that take up a lot of space, but I'm also reducing my carbs from my pasta. I'm still eating my pasta, but I'm having less of it. And that way I don't feel like I'm neglecting myself, but I'm making a small swap that's going to get me closer to my goals. And because I have a lot of volume on my plate, I feel like I'm getting fuller sooner. You know what I mean? Again, how easy is it going to be for the average person if you have a spinach salad? Let's say you go to Walmart, Publix, wherever your grocery store is, you get a whole bag of spinach and dump it in a bowl. How long is it going to take you to eat that bag of spinach? Compared to if you go to 7-Eleven and get like a little lunch-sized bag of chips. How long is it going to take you to eat that bag of chips? It'll take you a lot longer to eat that salad than that bag of chips. However, the bag of salad has a lot less calories than that bag of chips. It's a lot more nutritionally dense compared to that bag of chips. But still have the bag of chips if you want to, because it has salts and things like that. And sometimes you need those extra salts. So again, it's about cheating. It's about treating yourself, not cheating yourself, and having fun, and don't neglect yourself. So again, that's just what I want to talk about. How to improve your diet, how to improve your nutrition, is to understand yourself, understand your body, and just figuring out where your particular goals are. And Be realistic with yourself. If you want to have, if you want to have a bag of chips, have a bag of chips. But just make sure that what you're doing nutritionally wise is getting you closer to your goals. If you're having more chips than salads, you're not gonna. If your goal is to get to 13% body fat from 20% body fat, it'll take you a whole lot longer. It'll take you a whole lot more work cardio wise because you're cheating yourself nutritionally wise. So just think about these small little swaps that you can make, and just understand like your goals, where you're trying to get to, and all that stuff, and you'll be alright. But just gotta be honest with yourself. Alright? But again, that's my little message for the night. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the chat. I love to chat with you guys. Alright. Later.